Hey guys, here I am. This is going to be the 5th episode for Dr. Strangelove CMN 3165. I found an article. It kind of reads more like an opinion piece, but I think it's really informative. It's in relation to the music business. So the title of the article is, "Are the major labels in danger of turning music streaming into a monopoly owned by Apple?" So I'll read some of this to you and then we can talk about it a bit. Well, actually, I'll just start by saying that the article does go into economic details in regards to how Spotify is not really making any money, and a lot of these streaming services aren't making money. So although Spotify's revenues increased 80% in 2015, its annual operating losses also jumped from £165 million to £184 million. This is a British article. As it paid out almost 85% of revenues to music rights owners. So in 2016, Spotify raised a $1 billion convertible note with a sizable 5% interest rate that increases 1% every 6 months until the company's IPO. Spotify is now considering delaying its planned IPO pending renegotiating fair terms with the 3 major record companies, those being the big 3, Sony, Universal, and Warner. So in the meantime, the company hopes to create a sustainable business while paying millions of dollars in interest to its new investors. I made a video a few weeks ago that kind of talked about that. But this article talks about maybe a future involving one entity that could stream music, and that is Apple. So the big 3 are at a crossroads. If they continue to think short term, they may face a future in which Apple will be the only streaming platform. If they want to ensure a robust market for music rights, they need to think beyond the short-term gains that could ultimately lead to the demise of Spotify and other independent streaming platforms. Although early support for the big 3 was evident for Spotify, this is only granted in return for stock consideration each of the big 3 received, but it's safe to assume that artists didn't see much of the benefit from stock grant. We need to find sustainable ways to grow and thrive that don't just serve the few. So, Apple Music can afford to lose money while it quietly grows to be the number 1 or the only one streaming platform in the world. Let's put that into perspective. Assuming Apple has its recently reported $246 billion in cash in a bank account, returning 2% interest per annum, Spotify's 2015 losses of £184 million represents about 2 weeks of interest earnings for Apple. So the question the big 3 may need to ask themselves is, do we only want one streaming platform? Perhaps they need to recall when iTunes was the dominant download platform and the record industry went into freefall. So this is interesting. It kind of plays into the dominant ideology of capitalism that Professor Strangelove speaks so much about in his course, and how Apple, being a huge capitalist organization, with so much money, could afford to take a loss but still be in operating when other independent platforms like Spotify or Pandora might not be able to do so. So this is just a hypothetical article. It's just kind of an opinion piece, but I think it's a serious one that definitely you could seriously think about and consider. So thanks a lot, guys. I'll see you soon.